Good evening. My name is Jose Masso, and I am your master of ceremonies this evening. No, actually, Jose is fighting traffic somewhere. Hopefully, he'll be here very shortly. We're going to get the program started so that we can stay on time tonight. My name is Charlie Titus. I'm the Vice Chancellor for Athletics, Recreation, Special Projects, and Programs here at the UMass Boston campus. It's a big title. And in that role, I'm responsible for the operation of the athletic and recreation programs on the campus and other special projects and programs that we run out of our division, including we manage an agreement with the Harbor Point Housing Complex where a number of our students live. We run a project called GS Africa, where we do work in Africa, with youth development work in Africa with youngsters in West Africa. And the rest of that title is a bucket, if you will, where my chancellor can put things in there and make sure that we are working hard and getting things done on the campus. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 8th annual induction ceremony for the UMass Boston State Athletics Hall of Fame. I'm really delighted to see all of you here this evening, and I know you will enjoy this opportunity to mingle with old teammates, to get together with old friends, and to make new friends in the process. And I gotta tell you, I'm a little saddened this evening. My good friend, colleague, teacher, and coach, mentor, to myself and a number of people in this room is not here with us tonight. This is one of the first, maybe even the first Hall of Fame induction ceremony that he missed. I'm talking about Coach Ed Barry, the great Coach Ed Barry. I talked to him earlier today. He wanted me to send his regards to all of you and to congratulate all of the inductees. Today is a special day in his life. It is, in fact, his 91st birthday. Yes, thank you. Our inductees this evening include 7 individuals. The background of each one of those individuals included in your printed program, along with information on past inductees. The class of 2010 joins a growing community, and by the time we come to the end of our program this evening, the Hall of Fame will consist of 65 individuals and 10 teams. They represent a rich history and tradition of our predecessor institution, along with the relatively short but hugely successful history of UMass Boston athletics. Taken together, we have been a formidable presence on the local and national collegiate athletics scene for decades. We continue to celebrate that presence and the many accomplishments this evening by welcoming the UMass Boston State Hall of Fame class of 2010. To all of you, I say thank you for all that you've done for the institution, and congratulations on your induction. We have a pretty full slate of events ahead of us this evening, and I know that there are some in here who are on tight schedules, so we want to move immediately to our agenda, which is printed in your program books. But first, I want to remind you of the importance of supporting the Hall of Fame, not only by attending this evening, for which we are very grateful that you are here, but also through your continuing financial support. Your gifts to the Hall of Fame Fund helps to carry on the wonderful athletic traditions that we celebrate, that we're so proud of, and that you helped to establish. Membership certainly has its privileges, but it also has responsibilities. We've instituted a new program within the athletic department. It's a little bit over a year old now. It's a mentorship program where we ask alumni to come back and spend time. Sometimes it's just one workshop. Other times it's longer than that, but spend time with current student athletes, talking to them about your careers, about your successes, about your trials and tribulations, how you got to where you are today. We welcome any of you to join with us in that mentorship program. Cheryl Aaron, our Assistant Director of Athletics, is coordinating it. Cheryl, where are you, Cheryl? Cheryl, stand up, please. She's here somewhere. Cheryl, thank you. There's Cheryl Aaron. You can call Cheryl Aaron. Her number is 617-287-7807. Okay. You know, it's been a challenge for UMass Boston to compete against teams and schools that have more extensive budgets, larger support systems, programs with much greater longevity, history, and tradition. But you also know from recent news reports, including a front-page cover story on the Boston Globe on one of our teams, as well as major news stories during the year about our championship teams and our award-winning coaches, we have been successful. Our baseball team went to the World Series. Our volleyball team is currently ranked number 23 in the country. Our women's soccer team is setting records for wins. Our women's tennis team is setting records for wins this year. We're expecting big things from all of our winter sports teams. We're growing, we are successful, and our future is extremely bright. That so many UMass Boston teams have done so well over the years in spite of limited resources is a tribute to our student athletes and all of those who have helped to prevail in difficult conditions. The kind of support that you and others are providing makes a large difference in a team's motivation and ability to compete. It enhances the quality of each student athlete's experience on this campus. I don't need to tell you that these are difficult times financially, but that is why your continued support for the Hall of Fame is now more important than ever. Thank you so much for helping to ensure that we continue to grow and to benefit even more student athletes in the years ahead. You know, I'm now in my 34th year of coaching and directing athletics here at UMass Boston. In 1974, then Vice Chancellor Lee Tubbs took a chance on a 24-year-old kid and made him a head coach of a basketball team at a college. In 1980, he not only took a chance on an untested athletic administrator, but he stood up and fought for that person's right to have that job. He believed in me, he mentored me, and I am so grateful to Lee Tubbs. Thank you so much. You know, over my years here, there have been many challenges, and I think that we've met them all. Some of them successfully, some not so successfully, but we've met them all. We haven't shied away from any of the challenges. The emotion that I continue to feel the most, though, through all those years is pride. The pride of being associated with all the talented student athletes, coaches, and individuals who have participated in our programs over the years. People have assisted it and helped to make it outstanding. People in this room. The Hall of Fame is one of the most important ways in which we share, reaffirm, and carry on the sense of pride, memory, and continuity which unites us as students, athletes, coaches, administrators, supporters, and over the generations, past and present, we continue to come together. I want to take a minute to thank the staff of the Division of Athletics and Recreation for the outstanding job that they do every single day. I'm not going to call anyone by name, but I'm going to ask the whole staff to please stand for a minute. Division of Athletics and Recreation, please stand. Alan, come on, stand. It is a great group of people to work with. I feel very, very fortunate to be in a position to work with them, to advocate for them, to support them. I think that we have a dynamic group of young coaches here. We now have pretty much a coach of full-time staff of full-time coaches. And that certainly is a tribute to our chancellor and the work that he's done since he's been on this campus to make sure that athletics has an ability to grow and is resourced to the best of his ability. one of the things that this does today, being here today, I think it helps many of us relive our days, or the days of our youth. It helps us remember when. It even encourages some of us to think, Chancellor, that we still can. But it's also important that it's helping our younger members to know the importance of carrying on traditions that others have bequeathed to them. That's real important for all of us. At this point, I want to call your attention to individuals who are already enshrined in our Athletic Hall of Fame. Their names are listed in your program booklet. Induction of the new Hall of Famers will come later this evening, but now I would like to ask all of the already inducted members of the UMass Boston State Hall of Fame who are here tonight to stand and be acknowledged as a group. Please stand. Please stand. A couple more things. I want to offer some special thanks to Dale Freeman and Stephen Higgs, who made a great contribution. They were the musicians who were playing earlier this evening. They're standing in the back there. Thank you so much. Appreciate your regular contribution to our Hall of Fame. And you know what? This is real special. Where's Phil? Phil Gromley. Stand up for a minute, Phil. Phil organized a reunion of the Boston State Wrestling Program, and those gentlemen are here tonight. Please stand and be acknowledged. The Boston State Wrestlers. Now, how about that? A reunion of the wrestlers at the Hall of Fame dinner. Isn't that something? That's what it's all about. It is now my pleasure to introduce our distinguished Chancellor, Dr. J. Keith Motley. He became Boston's 8th Chancellor in June of 2007, and he was formally inaugurated in November of 2007 in a gala ceremony here on this campus. It was attended by a large public audience and an array of dignitaries. I think most of you are familiar with Dr. Motley's many achievements in the areas of scholarship, educational leadership, and community service. And we all know that he cares deeply about students and has earned their gratitude. What may be more important to us to remember this evening is our Chancellor's background as a star basketball player and a coach at another institution in this city. And that was over there across on Huntington Ave, where he was the first Division I basketball recruit, where he played and then coached with Hall of Fame, National Basketball Hall of Fame coach Jim Calhoun. Arriving on this campus as the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs in the fall of 2003, he immediately raised the profile of our athletic department and has been an effective advocate and a loyal supporter for the importance of athletics and recreation here at UMass Boston. He is my Chancellor, he is my friend, he is my brother, and I am so proud to have the opportunity to work here on this campus with Dr. Motley to you, sometimes Keith to me, Chancellor to many. I now introduce you to him. Please join me in welcoming our distinguished Chancellor.
My name is Jose Masso. He's here now. Jose Masso, ladies and gentlemen. A real wonderful welcome to all of you. I'm so grateful for your presence here on campus. Charlie was saying that some of us on campus try to maintain our youth by telling stories about it. In the gym every day, I walk in there and I don't ever pick up a basketball, but I always tell the students what I'd do if I had a few more minutes just to play with them. And I sit there, in fact, one of the Hall of Fame families caught me in there telling a tale earlier on today. I was in there trying to relive that, and it's a wonderful thing to have all of you on campus today because you are the legacy. You are what we stand on as a foundation here. You stand for family. You stand for team. I knew there was a reason that I didn't walk back to the back of the room today. Now I find out the wrestling team is back there. And before I even thought I could start grabbing someone back there, I'm so glad that I didn't even try to venture back there. Congratulations to you all. I'm so grateful that you had your reunion today. Thank you for being here, and I'm so grateful. Give them a round of applause. I'm going to thank Charlie Titus, someone who I had a chance to look up to as a young person coming into this city. And all these years later, I stand here proud to be the Chancellor of the University of Massachusetts, Boston, and all of the predecessor institutions that are a tremendous part of the legacy, a tremendous part of the fabric of this institution. We have not forgotten. You walk down to our bookstore, we proudly display paraphernalia that talks about you. When we talk about this institution, we mention all of those predecessors, starting back with Boston Normal School back in 1850-something, working all the way up until today. Yes, our legacy goes back beyond that of Amherst, and we're so grateful on this campus to be able to welcome you. This 8th Hall of Fame dinner here at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, is a wonderful occasion for us. I want to thank you, Jose. We're teasing you, but every time we call, you come forward to serve this institution, whether it's to help us academically, whether it's our community service, or whether it's to MC an event like this. I also want to thank Allie Duffy, who's running around in the back, who makes it run here, to Charlie and all of those in athletics, everyone on that team that has made this a special night for these inductees and their families. Thank you, because we want you to know, as a community here on campus, how much we cherish your presence, how much we want to honor you tonight, and how much we're so grateful to have you here. It's good to see so many friends. I know Coach Barry would just love to be here, but 91, your birthday, please. You can do anything you want when you reach a milestone like that. And so we're so grateful to him. I love the fact he picks up the phone and he calls, many times telling me what I should be doing as chancellor. And I'm honored because he cares. I'd also like to welcome Boston City Councilor Bill Linehan, Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch. Thank you for being here. This is certainly a special event. In addition to also bringing up my so-called checkered past, Charlie mentioned the importance of tradition to our athletic department. And I'd like to just say a few words about that. From eating the same breakfast every day and every morning, to giving a coach a Gatorade bath after a big win, every athlete maintains traditions. At the University of Massachusetts, Boston, our Department of Athletics is vested in tradition. Several great traditions, in fact. We have the tradition of Charlie Titus running the show. 34 years? That sounds like a tradition, man. Did you know you were a tradition?
Well, let's keep it a tradition.
We're grateful for that, and for his tireless work on behalf of this program. We have a tradition of academic and athletic excellence, most recently demonstrated by our women's volleyball team, who are predicted to repeat last year's win in the Little East Volleyball regular season championships, and the coach, Terry Condon, sitting right over there. The women's soccer team is on fire. 7-2-3. I love it because, for a moment, what happens in Boston is I get the phone call the day after every game. Some president calls me if they win, but they hide from me when they lose. They've been hiding a lot lately. They don't want to talk to me. In fact, I had a 5 o'clock phone call with the University of Massachusetts Dartmouth, whose behinds we kicked the other night in volleyball, with their chancellor tonight. She was very humble. She called me, and she said, have a wonderful time at your Hall of Fame. Congratulations. She was very humble, so congratulations to you, Terry. And of course, our Beacons baseball team, who defied the pretty incredible odds to make it to the World Series for the first time ever earlier this year. They've demonstrated our tradition of excellence, both in and out of the classroom, and we're so proud. We have a tradition of doing what we're doing right now, getting ready to honor some outstanding individuals who have made a tremendous difference in our athletic programs by inducting them into our Hall of Fame. Another tradition in our athletics department is giving back to our community. Earlier this month, the University of Massachusetts Boston's men's ice hockey team joined the Jumpstart program, Read for the Record Day, and read stories to young children the 3rd year in a row that they've done this. I'm told that the children were climbing up on the players like they were trees. They were so excited to see them. And in turn, the players were so excited to be with them. And then, coming up at the end of this month, the basketball team will be on Nantucket, giving clinics to the children there, who it's like being so far away from the mainland sometimes when you're out on an island like that off season. And so these young men will go down and work with those young people, and I'm so proud. Our latest tradition is we want to give gratitude to you and to others for their support. Robert K. Sheridan and the Savings Bank Life Insurance Company, or SBLI, donated a much-needed batting cage to the Beacons baseball team. Everyone here tonight, everyone who comes to these annual Hall of Fame ceremonies, everyone who participates in our annual golf classics, everyone who participates in our mentor program, you have established a tradition and you are giving back. You should be proud. We're grateful. We say thank you to you. You all are the reason why we have an athletics department, one that carries out the time-honored traditions of collegiate athletics and makes us so proud doing so. Your support is so important to our student athletes, to our department, to our staff, to me as chancellor, to this Commonwealth, and to the world. Your university is on the move, but we can't move without you. You understood. You heard the call, you're here tonight, and we're so grateful. So I'm so grateful to you, and I would like to sincerely thank you for being here tonight as we fulfill the tradition of honoring our exceptional athletes, our exceptional human beings, our exceptional legacy, our exceptional supporters, and we're so grateful. And so thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor. Now it's time to present our distinguished alumnus. But before I do that, I want to take one liberty. Again, these dinners and these evenings become so special to me, and each year there's something added to it. And it's a little emotional for me, but I have here tonight 2 special alumnus, and I want to introduce them to you. Mike Mitchell, would you stand, please? John Dugutis, please stand. They are special because they played on the first team that UMass Boston ever had that competed, the 1974-75 basketball team.
And I have two special people that are here tonight that I want to go home and not have to worry about riding home and getting a foot kicked in the wrong space. I have my daughter, Jordan. And my wife, Angela.
And sitting next to her. And sitting next to the lovely Miss Motley is the lovely Paula Titus, my wife. Thank you, Chancellor. Okay, so now I got to find my place again. I'm sorry. Okay. Our Distinguished Alumni Award is conferred by the university and the Department of Athletics. It is intended to honor a graduate of UMass Boston who has aimed high, shown a real degree of distinction in his or her career, and has compiled a record of great service to the community, including advocacy on behalf of sports and recreation. Tonight's recipient not only is a distinguished graduate, but also a professor who has taught here for over 40 years. He is a cherished friend and mentor. He served as our department's faculty athletic representative for several years. He helped elevate the credibility of athletics and recreation amongst the faculty on this campus, was critical in that movement during those years. It's hard to find a student, a faculty member, or a staff member on this campus who has not heard of him, or for that matter, who doesn't know him personally. He's a member of the science faculty, and his presence is also abundant at other department functions and athletic events. His many achievements are summarized in your program booklet. He is a dedicated mentor and teacher and author of many works in his field of environmental studies, and a vigorous participant in many community activities. He's also a master mariner. It is for this combined achievement that we honor him tonight. Now, we're going to move this along. I'm not going to tell you stories about him. However, if anybody at the end of dinner wants to hear a story about how he took me out on a boat to find a tall ship, I'll be glad to tell you that, and it's a true story. At numerous UMass Boston athletic events, he has been in attendance ranging from banquets to workshops to intercollegiate games, and in numerous athletic-related committees and meetings. Tonight's recipient has been a central and greatly appreciated presence, bringing inspiration and a sense of commitment to our work, helping us to build bridges to other parts of the university and helping us all be more united as a campus community. By now, I'm sure you know I'm talking about Professor John Looney. His caring, go ahead, give him a big hand, that's fine. His caring and consistency and his great achievements in several fields have made him a natural to be this year's recipient of the Distinguished Alumnus Award. Please join me in expressing our deep appreciation to Professor John Looney. Jack, please come to the stage.
Now, this guy is supposed to be retired, but I keep running into him on campus. He just won the highest honor that we give here at this university, the Chancellor's Medal for Distinguished Service. You know he's had tremendous amount of service to this university here, but also to Boston State. He was chair of our Environmental Earth and Ocean Sciences. He's also received his master's in education from Boston State. He serves as ex officio athletic guru. Before his so-called retirement, he was here for 50 years of teaching between this campus and Boston State. It's estimated that the man taught nearly 250 different classes and 5,000 college students whose lives have been touched by this young man. He has a research vessel sitting out here that's 46 feet in length, and he took me down to Nantucket because we have 100 acres at a field station that he advocated for this institution. So much so, I must love this guy. I met him when I was 16 years old at a basketball camp where I fell in love with his wife, who was the nurse. He got upset and he sort of was running me out of that room every day when I would go in injured. So that's how life goes. A kid from Pittsburgh comes to New England and runs into this guy. Then I run into him here as one of our faculty members. He passes me a pair of sneakers that I left at camp, how many years ago? Too many to talk about. In a bag with my name on them. That's the kind of guy this is. Held on to him all those years and then returned them to me. So we're so honored tonight as a university community, to give you and present you with another award for your service here to this institution. Sandwich him.
I don't trust my memory anymore. Thank you, Chancellor. Thank you, Charlie. Distinguished guests and honored Hall of Famers. I was asked to say a few words when Charlie and I talked. He said, you know, if you have any questions about the night or anything you want to say, just stop by the office, check with Terry Condon, and she can help you out. So I went down to the office and I said, Terry, Charlie said you could help me out. He wanted me to design a talk for an hour at the Hall of Fame banquet. And Cheryl Aaron happened to be there, and I caught her out of the corner of my eye, rolling her eyes to the heavens, and Terry said, well, that's nice. And Mary Beth Manine and Ed Perkins were going by, and Mary Beth popped in and she said, you know, we understand that your students would say those stirring one-hour lectures that you gave could be condensed into 10 minutes. And Ed said, yeah, and if you don't do it in 10 minutes, you'll be in the training room with a busted head. So anyhow, you're going to get the 10-minute variety. It's an honor and humbling experience to speak to a group of individuals inducted into the Boston, University of Massachusetts, Boston Athletic Hall of Fame. As a lunch pail mucker, some of you can identify with this, I never really reached the pinnacle of athletic achievement that many of you have reached. So I asked myself, what could I say that would be appropriate on an evening like this? And I think that some of you maybe can relate to some of these experiences. I was the third oldest of 9 children. I attended 3 high schools before I graduated. I ended up going back to that high school and teaching and administering for 10 years. Then I came to Boston State and UMass Boston. All told, as the Chancellor said, 50 years in teaching. All this happened to me after I graduated from Salem State. It's now Salem State University, as co-captain of the soccer team, and ended up with a 3.87 GPA. So I guess things looked up a little bit. In high school, I wasn't allowed to play sports. I had a childhood disease that some of you might be familiar with. It's called rheumatic fever. Payne and I were old and close friends. That illness is now eradicated thanks to antibiotics. I had decided that when I got to college, I was going to play sports just as my older brother did, kind of a big brother role model. At Salem State, there were two sports. You look at the chancellor. Yes, I did work at a basketball at a camp in New Hampshire. Yes, I did play basketball, but I was from the Rick Barry School, you know, between the legs and that kind of stuff. And at 5'7", you know, I'd be the fifth man out there when somebody went down. And from the clutch and grab school, you know, you're standing up against somebody like the chancellor, and it was the back of the sneakers of the trunks, you know. But that's the way things went in those days. I had some local role models. I grew up, one of my neighbors was Bill Mumboquette, a fellow that was quite a ball player for the Red Sox and a no-hit pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. I also had two local boxers, Tommy Collins, some of you might recall. Tommy fought Willie Pep and Sandy Sadler. Some great boxing matches. Tom McNeely was a classmate of mine, and I ended up in prison teaching at Norfolk. And Tom was the athletic director. And it's funny because Tom is probably just a little bit shorter than the chancellor. And seeing us together and talking with a couple of the inmates gave me instant credibility. We also had, as a neighbor, Eddie Sanford, who was a center in the old six-team league, National Hockey League. Fellows like Rip Valenti, boxing promoter. And the wrestling, interesting, the wrestling team here tonight, as a young boy, there was a fellow in West Medford where I grew up. His name was Tony Santos. That was kind of a stage name. His name was Anthony Sanazaro, and he used to promote the wrestling matches on Thursday nights at the Boston Arena or the Boston Garden. So much for Greco-Roman wrestling. I think some of you probably can relate to that. Some of you have also had similar experiences and exposure that I've had. Hall of Famer Larry Higginbottom started at club level and then varsity. That's what we did at Salem State. Paul Hughes, teacher, coach, and industrial trainer. One of the women's soccer players, when I was still department chairman here, went to Stone and Webster as an intern and ended up being at Stone and Webster as one of their environmentalists out in the field doing great work. Levesta Tubbs went into the community developing athletic and recreational programs for local youth. Eddie O'Donoghue, a coach, teacher, and administrator. Bill Curley can relate to some of the experiences that I had. Curley and Looney both transitioned from to UMass Boston from Boston State. Kristen Bowes, a three-letter athlete, is in the same profession as my brother-in-law, law enforcement. And speaking about that, down in Braintree, we have the Ridge Arena. John Ridge and I had a part-time job, worked for the same part-time job together. And through John Ridge, who went from private to major during World War II, I was introduced to Colonel Roberts, who was the chairman of the language department and athletic director at West Point. Our senior year at Salem State, we played soccer against West Point, and it was one of the thrills of my life, and I think it helped to establish soccer at Salem State. So here's what I took from athletics, and here's what I think many of you took from athletics. It's an attitude. We're positive. We made up our mind that we could do things. Tenacity. We don't give up. We improve daily. Through hard work, game to game, practice to practice, leadership. Take the initiative. Do it. Don't sit back and wait for somebody to do it. You do it. Educate. Show others. Help to make them better as you make yourself better. Teamwork. The team is as strong as the individuals that make up the team. And encourage your teammates. Be up, up, up. Don't let your teammates down. As I wrote this, I looked at those words, and it's funny, it just happened to fall that way. If you take the first letter of each one of those words, it spells athlete. If you put scholar in front of that, or after that, this gives you the total package. I want to say something about team, and it was team that the Chancellor addressed earlier, and also that Charlie addressed earlier. A fellow by the name of Paul Lencioni defined teams. He defined teams good and bad. He said that a bad team had an absence of trust. It feared conflict. There was a lack of commitment. There was avoidance of accountability. And there was inattention to results. Where good teams fostered trust, had a high degree of trust. If there was conflict, you called it out. You addressed it. There was a clarity of purpose. At the beginning of the season, we're going to have a good year. We're going to end up in the World Series. We're going to the finals. Everyone on a good team is accountable. And the results are the result of collective activity. As a scientist, we lean on the liberal arts. The adverbs who, what, when, where, and why are replaced by the pronoun you. You is both singular and plural. You, the individual. You, the team, the teammate, the schoolmate. You, the family member. Teaching and coaching is a transaction between individuals, and those roles may be reversed. Teachers became the taught, coaches became, athletes became coaches. So we can see those relationships. Winston Churchill was quoted as saying, and he was the World War II Prime Minister of Great Britain, that World War II was won by the Allies, by the British, on the fields, on the playing fields of the English public schools. These ideas were in my mind as I earned a master's and doctoral degree, and as I won National Science Foundation fellowships and assistantships. These ideas were in my mind as I held elective and appointed public office. These ideas were in my mind as I consulted with the United States Navy and with state environmental agencies. These ideas are in my mind as I coached the state championship under-18 women's soccer team a number of years back. And the interesting thing that occurred the following year, my colleague and good friend Bill Hagar, who's the associate dean here in the College of Science and Math, followed up the next year. Excuse me. These are important to me also as I encouraged my children, my 4 children, in their academic and athletic and life activities. I said to them, if you wanted to be good in athletics, you had to be good in the classroom. And if you were good in the classroom, you could probably be good in athletics. That's why I applaud the student advising program that's in place for our student athletes here at UMB. I've worked closely in the past with the administrators and with Mary Beth Manine, the student counselor here. You can applaud Mary Beth. It's through connections like this that we strengthen not only our athletic teams, but also aid the university in retention, which is a current issue critical in higher education today. I've been honored to be associated with UMass Boston in an academic and athletic role. The first statewide Special Olympics meet had Jack Looney as its field director. I've supported marine operations in football as well as sailing. And I have to put a little dig in. Charlie, I'm still looking forward to that ocean sailing co-ed team here at UMass. We had a presence for 10 years in the tall ships, and for 10 years under my direction, we represented UMass as in tall ships regattas up and down the East Coast, from Nova Scotia to New York. As I get ready to close my comments, I'd just like to say one or two closing words. Before I left my last year, I recommended a student to Clark University. That student was a leading student athlete, came into the university as a major in our department. He was also quite an athlete. He was a track star, and I think he was probably the first president of your men's letterpersons club. He was so good that I get letters about every 3 or 4 months asking me, do I have any more students like Ryan to recommend to Clark? And by the way, Clark is one of the top 5 schools of geography in the United States. As Chancellor Motley said, I first met him as a young lad of 15, 16 years. And I got to know him and I got to watch him. And he did stick out in my mind. When we left the camp that summer, yeah, there were a few things that were left around, and being trained well by my mother and father, you picked up everything. You didn't leave anything hanging around. In the military, if you saw something and it moved, you saluted it. If it didn't move, you painted it. But you did something with it. You just didn't leave it around. And I had remembered this young man who would, after dinner, we had 10-hour days there at camp, and people would flake out afterwards and want to go to their bunk and relax a little bit. And this guy's out taking shots, he's dribbling, he's practicing when everybody else is resting. I remembered that fellow, and we're walking down the corridor one day, and you know, all of a sudden the light goes on. We look at one another, and I had worked in student affairs and with the students and so on, and all of a sudden the light dawned, and we recognized each other as from this background that we had so many years ago. And I delayed my retirement because I wanted to work with Keith Motley and be part of what he stood for, because I believed so strongly in what he believed in. I'm sure that he will admit, and he has admitted, that his role in academics and athletics enhanced each other. Again, my sincere congratulations to all of you Hall of Famers, and I wish you continued success. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ron. You're welcome, man. This is very nice.
Thank you.
Look at Harry.
Should I tell everybody to eat, or are you going with that?
Because we're going to do one more. Thank you, Professor. It's now time for us to confer one more award before we eat. It's our Shining Beacon Award. This internal award is given to a member of the university community who does not work in the athletic department, but has made major contributions to the success of student athletes and has moved us closer to achieving the mission of athletics on this campus. The mission, I want to just sort of reiterate our mission for a minute here. The mission of the Department of Athletics at the University of Massachusetts Boston is to encourage every University of Massachusetts Boston student athlete to be a champion, to foster an environment where academic integrity, social responsibility, and respect for others and competitive athletics excellence are highly valued, to discover and nurture the total person who enriches the world and brings honor to UMB now and throughout life. We give this award to show our great appreciation for the continuing efforts in support of the many people on campus who help athletics and recreation achieve its prescribed mission for this campus. This year's recipient is Mary Ryan. Mary, please come up here. There's Mary. What a surprise. Mary came to the university about 11 years ago from Bentley College, where she had been working as an expert in financial aid office. She was hired here specifically to assist with our first PeopleSoft student administration application, focusing on the financial aid module. Her technical skills and expert business knowledge proved invaluable for the successful implementation of the financial aid module on this campus. Since completing that project, Mary has expanded her skills and abilities to include serving as a project lead for several campus-based applications. We knew that. We knew that. And so we were getting ready for a new initiative in athletics, and the staff kept saying to me, we got to get Mary, we got to get Mary. And so we went after Mary Ryan. And she came to work on our SAMS project. Adept at business process reengineering, Mary was the perfect choice to lead the SAMS project, as it involved new technologies, business process development, and application training. Although a very challenging project, Mary was very successful with its deployment and serves as a credit to her abilities. For the past 2 years, Mary has worked very closely with the division staff in building essential academic capabilities in the new Student Learning Lab, which opened in the Clark Center in the fall of 2009. So we're honoring Mary Ryan with the Shining Beacon Award for outstanding commitment with the design and management of the SAMS program. SAMS is Student Athletic Management System, and it's a database that allows us to track academic and athletic success of student athletes. She has assisted with the staff with development of SAMS program, and SAMS is one of, as I said, it's one of the UMass Boston Athletic Department's database systems. We track academic success, we track NCAA compliance information on all active student athletes. For the past 2 years, she has been our technical go-to person. When problems occur with the database, she works closely with our technical people, rewriting programs and pushing everyone to get projects done in a timely manner, and she knows how to make that happen. She pushes. There's a whip that she cracks. She has worked endless hours on internally coordinating faculty emails to instill a level of accuracy needed for the biannually proffered academic progress reports. She co-led training for faculty council and coaches meetings, met with our compliance officers to better understand the complexity of the numerous issues on transfer students and NCAA compliance information. Recently, she researched the new changes with the program and offered to be a resource if problems may occur with the new format. Mary spent over 2 years and many hours on this project, which would not have happened without her expertise and dedication to the project. We thank you so much. Hey, Jose.
Yeah, we're going to step out. Yeah. Congratulations, Mary Ryan. Also, Jack Looney. Thank you so much, Chancellor Keith Motley. And thank you, a big round of applause, please, also for Vice Chancellor Titus. Charlie, thank you so much, both of you. Let us conclude this part of the program so we can break bread together by bringing our good friend who will, as the Poet Laureate, share with us his ode to the class of 2010, Will you please welcome Duncan Nelson?
Thank you. I'm going to try this. Get down right with you. All right. Ode. Like I'm sounded. To the Hall of Fame. As heaven and UMass Boston knows, no athlete surpasses Kristen Bowes. For whichever uniform hung in her locker, be it softball, basketball, or soccer, throughout the duration of every season, her exploits were again and again the reason why, while she was here, our teams never ceased to be feared up and down the whole Little East. 12 varsity letters, captain in all, 3 sports. She made all sorts of records fall on the pitch and on the court in the field. As goalie, a well-nigh undentable shield. As point guard, known as a hard-nosed blocker and stealer, who also posed a threat as a scorer, and whose assists are up towards the top of our all-time lists. And as shortstop, both to her right and her left, her range was as wide as her hands were deft, and so fleet of foot that this Hall of Fame star stole 4 bases in just one game. And at the plate took such a good rip that she hit it a .342 clip. And senior year jacked her average heaven wards to a mark of .387. If she'd had one more year, you couldn't have nixed her chances of splintering Ted's .406. Her 11 school records bring ahs and ohs to our lips. Hip hooray for Kristen Bowes. All right, where is she? Where is Kristen? Ah, there I was looking. Woo! All right, where's Bill Curley? Ah, oh boy. One of those guys who got going early, indeed back as a freshman, was Bill Curley. With 33 points in just one semester, on every shift a goalie tester. His thick hips and his quick wrists led to so many goals, along with assists, some goals that he slapped in, some that he tapped in, that when only a junior he was named captain. And in '81 had a Codfish Bowl dream come true, made the all-tournament team. So when it comes time to rate the all-time greats at Boston State, you might begin by casting your eye at the Hall of Fame of South Boston High, because there you'll see the very same name that we add tonight to our Hall of Fame. To Bill, the man. Woo! Boy, this thing shakes. Where's Larry Higginbottom? All right, back in the days when here at the Hub, basketball was only a club sport at UMass Boston, Larry Higginbottom was able to carry a team coached by Charlie Titus up to a point where we became quite as good as many NCAAs. And that was because of the way Larry plays, which although at 6'4", he was often dwarfed out on the floor, is so flat out ferocious, end to end, in both when he'd attack and when he'd defend, that perhaps the best measure of the troubles he gives opponents are those double-doubles that showed on the stat sheet game after game, so that when at last the moment came when our accomplishments begat us the holy grail of varsity status, all agree it was Michael Mitchell, side by side with Larry, who made official our place among the hoop elite, than which Sweet 16 could not be more sweet. Here, I'll say hooray for Larry. Let him hear it. All right, Paul Hughes. Oh, yeah, all right. The longest home run ever hit at Bowen Field by quite a bit was a 480-foot blast launched by Paul Hughes, a player typecast not only to roam center field like a Jimmy Pearsall, but also to wield a bat so explosive you'd have to factor in a nuclear reactor to explain those mega-tonnage bombs. No wonder opposing pitchers had qualms when having to face a force at the plate with a slugging percentage of .588. So wherever he played, there was quite a quota of scouts that would watch him, from South Dakota to Nova Scotia. Hey, the Boston Park League's as big a deal for us as the Bigs. Yea, in Beantown, Paul Hughes' name's legendary. At Oliver Ames for 20 years, he taught kids to play like he did. And thus the TVA and Oak Ridge Lab knew when they signed him on that when Paul hits the ball, it's gone, baby, gone. To Paul. All right. Gone, baby, gone. There he is. Frank Kelly. Laxman short stickers' knees turn to jelly when they bang up against the long stick of Frank Kelly. Yea, he has been known to completely demoralize the opposing team's high scorer. And the way he broke out to the front from the rear was what Coach Gordy Webb calls the Kelly Clear. A move so well done by this well-rounded defenseman it left all who faced him dumbfounded. Yes, so faked out of their jocks and their shoes, it's no wonder the Hall of Fame should choose to honor a man who so clearly rates as one of lacrosse's all-time greats. By breaking the record for fewest goals, hey, baby, that's the way he rolls. He's a legend, the first defenseman to list on his record a goal and an assist. Oh, we know the one we have to thank. That lacrosse got so great at Bow State is Frank. Thank you, Frank. You're the man. Ed Donahue? Yeah. And hey, no one ever threw the hammer like Ed Donahue. And indeed, he is equally renowned for what he did in the 35-pound weight tossed. A 38-4 is part of his record-breaking lore. And he was the choice of Boris Gerasi, Northeastern's Division I champion, as he tried out for the Olympic squad. Yea, I'm not even sure that a Greek god like Zeus or a Norse god like Thor hurl their thunderbolts with any more grace and power than did Ed, who back in the 60s twice led Boston State to the New England Small College crown, then going on to win further renown in the bench press and in weight and power lifting. Hey, look at him, still a tower of strength. A Distinguished Service Award was what Bridgewater State was moved to accord Ed for his work in education, so we're joining a chorus of high commendation. To Ed for you. And I know where this guy is. As the Hall of Fame committee dubs for its honor roll Levester Tubbs, let me remind us what that means. It's for what he did behind the scenes to make every UMass Boston sport grow at the rink, in the gym, on the court. and out on the field, home and away. This was the man who day after day, with a hand as resourceful as it was reliable, worked to make our sports programs viable, so that despite limited facilities, our student athletes' capabilities could be showcased, and we could come to be, in 1980, Division III. Arising from the era of clubs on account of the genius of Levester Tubbs, we rose like the phoenix from Harbor Point ashes, and with the speed of 100-yard dashes, fulfilled this leader's far-reaching vision that is part of our UMass Boston mission of athletics, not only being a part of student life, but at its heart. Expressing mens sana in corpore sano. It's a little Latin, what is it? Yes. A strong mind in a strong body. I'll repeat that. Expressing mens sana in corpore sano, so that now when we go mano a mano with the very best teams, we're no longer just squeaking by, no sky high, we now shine like a beacon. And who lit the light, says your court jester, that brought sport to life at the point was Levester. And let's hear it for you. So, that's the whole caboodle and kit. And now let's all rise from where we sit and cheer those inducted into the hall. We hail and salute you, one and all. Bravo, bravo.
Duncan Nelson,
Whoa.
our poet laureate.
Could you hold my hand for a second? I'm a little wobbly.
Ode to the class of 2010. Thank you, Duncan. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's continue with our dinner, and momentarily I'll come on stage and we will continue with the program and, of course, our inductees, the class of 2010. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as you continue with your dinner, for the sake of time, I'm going to ask that you indulge me so that we can get the program moving along, even though I realize some of you are still eating this great dinner. By the way, a big round of applause, please, for the dinner that we're being served this evening and for the wait staff, UMass Boston. Momentarily, I'll have the inductees join me one by one on stage, but I have a few announcements. One is, we have a couple of auction items. I have a silent auction item number 1, Air Hotel and Golf, Bear Lakes Country Club, West Palm Beach. This wonderful package for 2 includes round-trip airfare to West Palm Beach, 2 nights hotel stay, and a round of golf at Bear Lakes Country Club, one of the finest private country clubs in the United States, donated by Jack Lambert. We are still taking names and your offer. And at the end of the evening, we will announce the winner for that. We also have a very special silent auction item, number 2, Boston State College hockey jacket. This was a public university located in Boston, Massachusetts. It was located in the Longwood Medical Area in Boston. Boston State College roots begin with the Girls High School, founded in 1852. In 1872, the Boston Normal School separated from Girls High School and became an independent institution. The Normal School was renamed the Teachers College of the City of Boston in 1924. In 1952, it became a state college, the State Teachers College at Boston. The college was renamed the State College at Boston, also known as Boston State College, in 1960. Boston State College merged with the University of Massachusetts in 1982, and that legacy is through this Boston State College hockey jacket, which is in display, and it'll be also auctioned off, and I'll be looking forward to naming the winner of that item. So, I believe this is my 3rd, maybe my 4th UMass Boston Hall of Fame dinner, in which I have the honor and pleasure of serving as Master of Ceremonies. And I want to ask you to indulge me a minute as I put this into context. I usually do this for this event in particular because of those who were present. As I walked the room and met the young women from the soccer team who currently have a 7-2-5 record, 7-3-5 record, 7-2-3 record. I got the 5. There we go. 7-2-3 record. And I realized as I looked at them that this past August 5th, I celebrated my 60th birthday. 60 years old. And looking at that young group of women, I said they could be my daughters playing here at UMass Boston. And I realize now, as I have realized for several years, how blessed I am. The fact that at the morning I can wake up and do the things that many of us do and take for granted, get out of bed, go to the bathroom, get ready for a day. I am blessed that I'm physically able to do that. I'm blessed because the woman who sleeps next to me and wakes up in the morning, my wife, Divina, who is from Puerto Rico as I am, the mother of my children, the grandmother of my grandchildren, is healthy, as are my children and grandchildren. I am blessed. But I'm blessed because I've had so many special people in my life, and one in particular that I always talk about when I do this event, and you'll understand why in a moment, is my grandmother. Maria Anastasia Colón Aponte de Mazo, otherwise known as Doña Provi, was born in Salinas, Puerto Rico, April 27th, 1891. She passed away in Guayama, Puerto Rico, in the southern part of the island, October 28th, 2003. For you math wizards out there, she was 112 years, 6 months, and 1 day when she passed away. 112 years, 6 months, and 1 day. Now, this was a woman who did not have the opportunity, as many of us have had, to receive a formal education beyond her elementary grades, middle school. She did not go to college, but she was a wise woman. And this was a woman who I knew every single day of my life did two things. She chewed tobacco and drank beer every single day. Every single day. Now, that doesn't mean that those of us in this room are going to make it to 112.6 in a day. But in her case, when she went to celebrate her 110th birthday, we gathered as a family and friends in a room similar to this. And as I walked into the room, I noticed that my grandmother, the daughter of Santos Colón and Valentina Ponte, was drinking beer, but she was not chewing tobacco. And I approached her, Bendición, Welín, God bless me. She said, bless you, son. I said, Welín, grandmother, you're not chewing tobacco. She said, oh, no, son, it's not good for your health. At the age of 110, my grandmother realized that maybe if she stopped chewing tobacco, she would have a longer life, and sure enough, she lived to 112.6 in a day. That means we can always learn something new. But this wise woman, who I would bring my children and grandchildren to meet in Puerto Rico as often as possible, I would ask her to tell us about her history, her life experiences, what it was like growing up in Puerto Rico. Think about that history that she lived in real time. And she would say to me, son, you know, I look at you and I realize yesterday's history, I can't turn back the hands of time. I cannot relive yesterday, but I can only hope to be a better human being because I can't change my yesterdays. She would say, because of her experiences that would make her a better person. She would look at my children and see what we were planning to do with them and what they were planning to do on their own. And as they fiddle with all these different gadgets, she would say, I only pray that you'll be healthy enough tomorrow to enjoy whatever tomorrow has to bring because it's not guaranteed. Tomorrow is not guaranteed, she would say. In a soft voice, if she were here today and I had her with me, Doña Provi would say to you, the most important part of her life is the present. Because she realized that the present was a gift, a very special gift. And she would ask us to enjoy the present, and so doing, unwrap that gift very slowly so we would understand everything that was being given to us at that moment. And I share this and put it in context for us this evening because this evening we have a very special gift. We have a gift of camaraderie, of colleagues getting together, of just remembering old times, but at the same time, blessings that we have had as young men and women through the gift of sport. We are gathered together with new friends that we are making, at the same time able to break bread together and enjoy a healthy meal. And we are gathered at a moment in which all of us are thinking about what the future might be for those young athletes at UMass Boston that might compare to those who have played in the past. So this is a very special gift, this induction ceremony. It's not just another dinner. It's not just another chicken plate. This is a very special evening in which the gift of what we have contributed as men and women in the world of sport and as scholars is being honored, and it's one in which I recognize and I am so honored to be part of this evening, and I ask all of you to give yourselves a big round of applause for being here tonight. So to start things off, you heard our poet laureate speak highly of him in rhyme. Sylvester Tubbs was a vital supporter behind the emergence of the UMass Boston varsity athletics program. From 1974 to 1980, the former UMass Boston Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs worked extremely hard to establish a strong recreation program at the New Harbor campus, a viable club sports program, and ultimately an NCAA Division III athletics program, which became a reality in 1980. Tubbs was instrumental in building student life and student activities on campus while expressing his vision, which led to what is now UMass Boston Athletics. Without such a pioneer, leader, and visionary administrator such as Tubbs, the ascension of athletics at UMass Boston surely would not have been as rapid. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome to the class of 2010 UMass Boston Hall of Fame, the Honorable Sylvester Tubbs.
Before I get into any remarks, let me just simply say one thing. As a college and university administrator and a professor of higher education and policy studies, I've been involved in student development for a long time, over 44 years. Let me say to all who had anything to do with creating this facility, this is an outstanding facility. The role that a university center play like this in creating a sense of community is unmeasurable. And I might also add, the role that an athletic program plays in developing a university community is also unmeasurable. I came to this institution in January 1974, midwinter. 2 weeks before we opened this campus. Matter of fact, I was here on the campus 2 weeks before classes started. We had 3 colleges. For some reason, 2 of them was arts and sciences, 1 was public affairs and community services. I had the responsibility as the first vice chancellor for student affairs of pulling together some centralized services that was sort of been floating around within the university, as well as some decentralized services that was divided into 3 colleges. And of course, those 3 colleges' deans had some very strong feelings about some of those services now being pulled in to be centralized. My basic philosophy of campus life and student service has always been that everything that exists in the college and university environment is an academic support entity. They must support the academic mission of the institution. When we talk about student development, and particularly about athletics, they all support the academic mission. Well, Lee Tubbs, how can you say this? Very simply, everybody here in this room fully understands that a biology class or a chemistry class needs a laboratory. The laboratory reinforces what the teacher teaches or the professor may teach. In many disciplines within the college and university environment, there is no laboratory. Students in political science may find student government as their laboratory. In athletics, is very much a laboratory. That laboratory is, how is it that one learns strategic planning? Athletes have to practice strategic planning all the time. That jock has to get down in front of some big tackle. They got to do one or two things. Figure out how to beat somebody else's brains out and how to avoid getting their brains beat out. That's strategic planning. They have to learn teamwork. It's not a corporation in this country that want to hire somebody who's not involved in teamwork, do not understand teamwork, how to work together cooperatively. They also have to learn leadership skills, organizational skills. And they do this in athletics all the time. So let's not say that there are dumb jocks. There's no such thing. Anybody who has the capability to analyze and do those kind of things has all the capabilities to be successful in life. And we've seen that continuously. On my final note, let me just simply say that this award means an awful lot to me. I received a lot of awards for a lot of different reasons, some from this institution, even when I was leaving. But when Charlie called me and said, you know, Lee, we want to induct you, we have inducted you into UMass Hall of Fame, athletics, I said, for what? What did I do? I don't feel like I did very much. It was a job. I realized the importance of that kind of program for the development of student life, student athletes, and the university. And I will not back off that philosophy at no time at all. And I can simply say this in closing, that I left here to go to another university, the University of Central Florida in 1980. UMass Boston and University of Central Florida is about the same size institutions. A little more than 9,000 students. And some question, why did you go to Central Florida? Well, native Floridian, returning home. But coming like to Boston, this seems like home to me too. Now I'm very much at home. I saw this university with less than 10,000 students. The year before I arrived, they started a football program. The president, at his inauguration, announced that he was starting it. Last night, they were on ESPN. Just getting that name out there, winning football games, has made that university a great university. This past fall, UCF enrolled 56,000 students, the largest public university in the country. So athletics plays a major role. And I'm grateful for this because nowhere that I've ever experienced any kind of recognition that somebody look back 30 plus years and say, hey, here's somebody who's done something. Let's hand them something and reward them for it. So I thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Tubbs, ladies and gentlemen. As we continue our inductees for tonight, Paul Hughes was a stellar center fielder with great speed for the Boston State baseball team. He could really swing the lumber with a .323 career batting average to rank among Boston State's all-time greats. He was a catalyst of the 1960 team that won the New England Teachers College Conference Championship and advanced to the NAIA National Tournament, leading the squad with a .383 batting mark and a school record 20 runs scored as a sophomore. He helped the Warriors to a 35-18-1 record over his four-year career from 1959 to 1962 and batted .300 or better in each season, while being named a captain for his senior campaign. Hughes graduated in 1962 and is Boston State's career leader in runs scored, triples, runs batted in, slugging percentage, and games played. Ladies and gentlemen, 2010 UMass Boston Hall of Fame inductee, will you please welcome and congratulate Paul Hughes. Now, one of those photo op moments, after he gives his speech, I'm going to ask if you don't mind. He's carrying some lumber here. Paul H. Hughes, 2010 Hall of Fame, UMass Boston, 1962, number 17 center field, along with his award from the Hall of Fame, a good friend of his. We want to thank you for making this so special for him with this lumber. Stand up, please. And I want to ask for him to take one of his poses right before he leaves the podium so we can get that photo op moment of that great swing. Thank you. There you are.
Thank you. Okay. What a great honor and a privilege it is to be inducted in the University of Massachusetts Boston Athletic Hall of Fame, along with so many great athletes, coaches, and administrators from both UMass Boston and Boston State College that have preceded me. I want to take this opportunity to thank my wife, Ann, my sons, Paul, Brian, Michael, Tim, my daughter, Libby, and Tim's wife, Erin, along with my extended family and friends who came from near and far to join me in this celebration this evening. All of my family came in from Tennessee, with the exception of my son, who came from Germany. I also want to thank the Chancellor of the University of Massachusetts, Boston, Keith Motley, and the Vice Chancellor, Charlie Titus, for all their support to ensure that Boston State College athletes have been incorporated into the Hall of Fame. A special thank you must go to the members of the selection committee for choosing me for this award, and in particular to Joe O'Brien and Dave Masters for their personal support of my nomination. I'd also like to recognize another Hall of Famer, a Hockey Hall of Famer from Boston State, namely Dick Kelly. Dick was very helpful in assisting me throughout this whole process, and he has also been very instrumental in ensuring that former Boston State College athletes have been inducted into the Hall of Fame since its inception in 2003. Thank you, Dick. I'd like to extend a special congratulations to Coach Brandon Egerbrot and the 2010 University of Massachusetts National Championship Baseball team for the success they had this past year. This was, as you heard earlier, the baseball team's first ever appearance in the NCAA Division III College World Series. Great job, guys. Hearing about their accomplishments this year brought back many similarities between the UMass Boston baseball team and our 1960 Boston State Hall of Fame championship team. We were the first and only Boston State team to play in the NAIA National Championship. Both teams were exceptional and had many great athletes on them, and would experience, as the sportscaster Jim McKay would say, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, as each team unfortunately lost in the first round of the national championship. On a personal note, I would like to add that the victories and losses from the game of baseball taught me many lessons that would help to carry me throughout my life. It taught me leadership skills, the importance of teamwork, dedication to a cause, be it a job or to a family, and perseverance to see things through, no matter how difficult life might get or how many curveballs it might throw you. I have been blessed in so many ways, thanks to the support of my wife of 45 years, and my wonderful children, all of whom I am immensely proud of. Each one of them is making a tremendous contribution to society based on their chosen careers. Paul is a special agent with the FBI in Knoxville. Brian is a lieutenant colonel with the Special Operations Forces in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Michael is a lieutenant colonel with the Army. He is serving in Heidelberg, Germany, with the U.S. Command Office there. My daughter Libby is a firefighter at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory, and my son Tim is an attorney with the Memphis Area Legal Services. In conclusion, I would like to dedicate my induction into the Hall of Fame to the following. To my father, who was my first coach and taught me how to play the game of baseball and how to shag fly balls on the Winbrook Playground in Belmont, Massachusetts. To Gus Sullivan, my Boston State College Hall of Fame baseball coach, for all of his encouragement, dedication, and inspiration, and to my 1960 Boston State College Hall of Fame championship team, all of whom made this night possible for me. Again, thank you all for this wonderful and most memorable evening. God bless you all, and God bless America.
He promises he's going to swing for the fences. Thank you, Paul. Congratulations, Paul Hughes, inductee for 2010. Ed O'Donoghue was the greatest field athlete in Boston State College track and field history. His 1967 season was nothing short of spectacular, winning the NCAA Division II National Championship in the hammer throw, while becoming the first track and field All-American in school history. Not only was he the first Warrior to win an NCAA field championship with his throw in Salt Lake City, Utah that year, but he helped Boston State to its second consecutive New England Small College Athletic Conference crown. While winning the NESCAC championship in the hammer, O'Donoghue is the school's record holder in the hammer throw and weight toss and never lost to an NESCAC competitor in a hammer throw during his entire career. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome, for the 2010 UMass Boston Hall of Fame, our inductee, Ed O'Donoghue.
Well, first, I'd like to thank the nomination committee and also Dick Kelly and Frank McCarthy for their support. It is truly an honor for me to be among those who have already been selected to the UMass Boston Athletic Hall of Fame, and for those to come. A thank you to my family and friends who have traveled here this evening to be here, especially my wife, Marcia, who I met at Boston State College my last semester. Boston State College was an inner-city school with no scholarship athletes and few facilities. What it lacked in facilities, it made up for in its capable coaches. Luskatoff, Squires, Barry, Nance, just to name a few. These individuals influenced many a young athlete. We were not the most talented, but the desire to win was there. The intensity and dedication was there to build upon. Coach Squires was an outstanding athlete in his own right from Notre Dame. He influenced his teams by making them believe in themselves. The preparation and work effort that he required could be overwhelming, but his support, his encouragement, and his sincere interest in each of his athletes, both on and off the field, pushed many of us to perform beyond our own expectations. Coach Squires wanted success for each of us, not only on the athletic field, but also in life. He believed a thought-out plan followed by a strenuous work effort would produce results. He expected the best from each of his athletes, and therefore he was willing to have us compete against all comers. "You need the experience" still echoes in my ears. I received an excellent education at Boston State, as many of you have at UMass Boston. I had the opportunity to work with young people on a daily basis, and the intent was always there to assist them towards their goals with the hope of them enjoying the happiness of a productive life. In closing, I'd like to thank Bill Cassetti, an All-American from Northeastern, who helped me along the way. And to use a quote Coach Squires adheres to, and one that I tried to emulate throughout my career, one of the highest marks of intelligence is how one individual treats another. Thank you for this honor. I'll always cherish it. Thank you very much.
Ed O'Donoghue. Thank you, Ed. Congratulations. Frank Kelly was a big reason why the Boston State men's lacrosse team's defense was one of the nation's best in the early 1970s. He's the only defender in school history to be named All-New England twice, to go along with a pair of Colonial League All-Star selections. He was named the team's most valuable player during the 1971 season when it was 12-1, and routinely was assigned to opponents' top scorers throughout his career. He was so adept at maneuvering through the defensive zone that Hall of Fame coach Gordy Webb dubbed the transitional move the Kelly Clear. The shutdown defender started all 37 games of his career and helped the Warriors to the Colonial League crown as a senior and their first appearance in the United States Intercollegiate Lacrosse Association National Championship Tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, 2010 UMass Boston Hall of Fame. Will you please welcome inductee Frank Kelly.
Well, if they had a Hall of Fame for public speaking, I wouldn't be here. But I'd like to tell you, I'm humbled and honored to be included with the rest of these inductees into the 2010 Hall of Fame. I'd like to thank Chancellor Mortley, Charlie Titus, the Hall of Fame committee, my advocates, Jimmy Collins and my brother Tom, and Dick Kelly for that flattering bio. No relation. And it's true, Dickie, the older you get, the better you were. I have to acknowledge some people I played with. Bill Ezekiel was my mentor, and Tony Manzelli was my line mate. Bill Ezekiel was the guy that got me to go out for lacrosse. He said, "Frank, you're going out for lacrosse." Anybody that knows Deke knows, when he asks you to do something, you do it. Tony Manzelli took me under his wing along with Bill, and Tony taught me the fastest way to a loose ball was through your opponent. The next year, they both graduated. We had a new coach, and I was the mentor instead of the mentee. I had to mentor John Miles and Frank McCabe. Frank's here, Johnny is not, but they were quick learners. We went 12-1. Of course, we didn't do it alone. We had help from Jimmy Kent, Jerry McClellan, Peter Banis. I'm out of order. But there was a piece missing. We got it next year, and a young kid named John Yeager. We'd play, Johnny was a goalie, just what we needed. We'd play a game, and I'd have 3 or 4 whacks or welts on me. He'd have 15 or 20. And the team was complete. Now, every team needs a leader. Hall of Famer Gordy Webb believed in us and made us believe in each other. He was the coach that we needed. Thank you, Gordy. It's kind of an oxymoron that you get an individual award in a team sport, but I'm fortunate enough that my whole team of 1972 was inducted 3 years ago. So believe me, I don't feel guilty about getting this now. But I'm sorry. But I did have team support. I had guys like Michael McLean, Steve Harris, Charlie Smith, Frankie Morgan, Billy Rayfuse, Jay Sullivan, that played all 3 years with me. And if it wasn't for them, I don't think we would have got through it. We had great times. We traveled together, we played together, we practiced together, and we had fun. Every year we had fun. The last year was more fun, but... And finally, I'd like to thank my family. Some of them are here, and I appreciate your love and support. I know you're proud of me tonight, but you're not as proud of me as I am of you. Thank you all. Enjoy the rest of the night.
Frank Kelly, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Frank. Congratulations. Our fifth inductee, Bill Curley, was one of the most prolific point scorers and consistent offensive players in Boston State men's ice hockey history. The right wing tallied 32 or more points in all 4 of his campaigns for the Warriors and ranks 3rd on the program's career points list with 139 in 94 games. Curley was named an assistant captain as a junior, and to this day is one of the best playmaking forwards in school annals, racking up 79 career assists for the 2nd highest total by a Warrior. He registered a career-high 23 assists as part of a 41-point season to lead a team as a junior, and was named Boston State's most valuable player for the 1978-1979 campaign. Ladies and gentlemen, 2010 UMass Boston Hall of Fame inductee, will you please welcome Bill Curley.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank Keith Motley, Charlie Titus, the Hall of Fame Committee, and everyone associated with UMass for making this award possible. I was very fortunate to be coached by 2 great men, Eddie Barry and Bob Barry, who, along with my teammates, made my hockey career at Boston State so memorable. I am also fortunate to have the support of my family, my beautiful wife Ellen and my daughter Devin, who, along with my brothers and sisters, are here tonight. In closing, I would like to thank everyone for being here this evening. It really means the world to me to be honored as part of a UMass Sports Hall of Fame. I hope that every student athlete here at UMass enjoys the ride as much as I did playing hockey at Boston State. Thank you.
Bill Curley. Congratulations. Larry Higginbottom was a fundamental part of the success of the UMass Boston club basketball team that became a cornerstone of the varsity athletics program for the university. He played 4 seasons from 1975 to 1979 and pulled down 797 rebounds during his career, the most in the club team's existence, and netted 1,039 points to cement his status as a ferocious rebounder who could produce on the offensive end as well. During his senior year, Larry averaged a double-double of 13.6 points and 10.4 rebounds per game, even after transitioning to a new position. His leadership also proved to be invaluable as the team moved forward to varsity status. Larry's not with us this evening, but in his place, Michael Mitchell, who's a Hall of Famer, class of 2006, and played with Larry, and along with John DeGutis. Are you both here still? John? Where are you? Michael? Both of you coming up? Do I see you? Please join me.
Yes, hi. Unfortunately, Larry couldn't be with us this evening, so John and I would like to accept this on his behalf. We had the privilege of playing with Larry in the beginning of this journey that we are here now on. He demonstrated to us that he was a fierce competitor, a good friend, and a good teammate. And I want everyone here to know that it is extremely lucky that he's not here tonight, because we just shaved 40 minutes off our program, y'all. Let's keep it going.
I haven't seen Larry in 34 years, and I've been really waiting to see him. Because when the coach used to make us do the 16s, we didn't do the 16s like normal people do. I had Larry on my back, and I had to do them with Larry. And then I would be on Larry's back. So for over 2 years, we worked very hard. So maybe one of these years, I'll be here every year, and maybe one of these years, I'll hook up with Larry again. But there's one thing that I know is once you get into this team effort, that I think the conversation would just start 34 years ago. It would start like the next word, and it wouldn't even be any time lapse. So it's a privilege to be here. It's a privilege to be here on behalf of Larry. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Michael and John, on behalf of Larry Higginbotham. Is the Mayor of Quincy still here with us? He is? Right there. Can you join me on stage? Do you mind? Kristen Bowes was one of the greatest athletes. How do you pronounce the last name, Kristen? Bowes. I want to make sure I said it right. Bowes. It's like you. Bowes. I love it. Kristen Bowes was one of the greatest athletes to have ever played at UMass Boston. The Quincy native earned a maximum amount of 12 varsity letters playing 3 sports. It was named team captain in women's soccer, women's basketball, and softball, while setting 11 school records, including 5 standards in women's soccer, 4 in basketball, and 2 in softball. A 2003 graduate of UMass Boston, Kristen is the greatest goalie to ever play for the Beacons, owning career records for matches played, minutes played, saves, and save percentage. She still ranks 9th on the all-time NCAA list in total saves with 815, and also owns the single-game saves record of 37 stops. She was a well-rounded basketball player as well, having played in 100 career games as the Beacons point guard. The floor general owns the school record for career assists, seasons assists, single-game helpers, and single-game steals. When winter turned to spring, Kristen put on a glove as the softball team's shortstop and still owns the record for career assists with 228. She also proved to be a threat on the base paths with a school record 4 steals in a game and a career total of 38 to place second all-time for the Beacons. She still ranks among UMass Boston's career leaders in 6 offensive categories. Ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, maybe we have saved the best for last. Will you please welcome for the 2010 UMass Boston Hall of Fame, Kristen Bowes. I'm going to ask Kristen to say a few words, and if the Honorable Mayor Thomas, Coach, would please say a few words as well, because there's a family relationship here, you know. Kristen, it's all yours.
Thank you. It's a lot easier playing than speaking, so here it goes. I'd like to thank the selection committee for bestowing me with this great honor. My experience at this university was invaluable, thanks to the great faculty and staff. I'd like to thank my coaches, Janet McGuire, Gretchen Randall, and Sean Polk. I'm sure it was not the easiest athlete to coach, and at times challenge their patience. In addition to having endless patience, my coaches had a few other important things in common. They focused on each player's performance, both on and off the field or court, expecting us to excel athletically and academically. Also, they required us to volunteer by coaching at youth sports clinics in the community. These experiences not only helped me grow as a student athlete, but more importantly, as a person. Most often, our records did not reflect the talent, hard work, or dedication of the athletes whom I had the privilege to play with. Whether in the weight room, at practice, or in a game, my teammates pushed me each day to become better. The accomplishments I achieved would not have been attainable without the support of my teammates. Ultimately, I'd like to thank my family. After all, they've had to endure me for a lot longer than anyone else. Sports has always brought my family together, from my family playing various sports in our backyard to my family being sideline spectators at my high school or college games. I am grateful to my family, my parents, grandparents, brother, aunts, and uncles for being actively involved in my life. Lastly, I can never express to my parents how thankful I am to them for always encouraging me and coaching me to be better, instilling in me that when you commit to something, you follow it through to the best of your ability. This award is the result of their combined effort in raising me. Congratulations to all the other inductees. Thank you.
Mayor, say a few words, please.
Thank you. This is a surprise, but Kristen is also my goddaughter and niece, so I'm extremely proud of her accomplishment here tonight, but also for the many years. I've got 3 children here. They wouldn't miss their night for their cousin, known as Bosie, and she's truly a idol in their life, and she's assisted them in their quest in sports. I can't take any credit for any of her athletic talents. You can tell by my physique. But I must warn you, if you're driving through the streets of Quincy, be careful. She's a police officer, and you'll never get a break. Lastly, I want to say my dad was the first park commissioner for Quincy, and was very involved in recreational programs for a long time. He's been not with us for many years, but I know he's looking above, quite proud of his granddaughter.
Ladies and gentlemen, the class of 2010 Hall of Fame, Levestre Tubbs, Paul Hughes, Edward O'Donoghue, Frank Kelly, Bill Curley, Larry Higginbottom, and Kristen Bowes. Will you please give them all a big round of applause? Before we conclude our program for tonight, I've got a couple of housekeeping chores I've been asked to do. I'm going to ask Vice Chancellor Titus to join me on stage for a minute so he can pull out the magic number. We've got a door prize. David, is that it right over there in the corner?
I'm not pulling, I'm telling my wife pull.
Well, there you go. Charlie does the right thing at the right moment. Now, each of us, we have a number someplace? It's in your, there you go. So you should have a ticket right here. I can't win this, so I have to get another, no. So, the bearer of ticket number 21 65 25 3. 21 65 25 3. And we have one of the members of the soccer team. Kelly, I can't see your last name. Neville?
Yeah.
Kelly Neville, who has just won the door prize. Come here to the microphone, don't be shy. I'm doing this because I want you to start thinking about one moment in the near future where you might be standing here as a fellow UMass graduate was just momentarily, and Kristen was here receiving an award. So, having said that, you're going to announce the two winners of the auction items. This auction item here is a Boston State hockey jacket, and the winner is
Bob Reardon.
Bob, where are you? You've got it. And we have a round-trip airfare to West Palm Beach, Florida, round of golf at Bear Lakes Country Club, and 2 nights hotel stay. And hopefully, his boss will let him take that time off to do this. Will you please announce the winner?
Dave Marsters.
Kelly, thank you so much. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, let me once again congratulate the 2010 Hall of Fame inductees for the 8th annual ceremony. Also, Vice Chancellor Charles Titus, our good friend Chancellor J. Keith Motley, and all who have participated and made this possible this evening. Thank you so much for this special gift that you have shared with all of us. And for me, it's been an honor and a pleasure. Look forward to seeing you again. God bless. Drive home safely. Good night. Thank you.